Yeah, I'm not sure how I can help people.
Yeah, well, you got it on the website, so if they click
All
on it
right.
again, it should work.
All right, well, we will charge on because that's what we do. And I think the next slide is perfect. I'm starting with this quote because I think everything about what we're doing, including learning this new tech, is being adaptive. We are getting new information every day. We are responding to that information, and we make decisions in the best interest of kids and families. So stuff is shifting. We'll continue to do updates like this, probably at least every other week, and occasionally we'll do weekly updates. That's how we ended the school year, and so it's likely that we'll begin the school year with that same level of communication. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see the fabulous quote that I was referring to. And so for tonight, we have a few things that we'd like to kind of go through with you. We did meet the team, but since folks may not have been on yet, we're going to go ahead and reintroduce ourselves. I am Steph McClay. I am the very proud principal of Agoura High. Mr. Klein, go ahead and introduce yourself again.
Hi, I am the Chief Technology Officer, Jim Klein of the Las Virgenes Unified School District, and I'm in charge of all the technology programs at the district.
Mary?
Hi, I'm Mary Hazlett. I'm one of the assistant principals, and I support the counseling office, the counseling team, our college and career center, and our curriculum and instruction.
Thank you. Curtis?
Hi, Curtis Bruno, Assistant Principal of Student Services. I support student activities as well as the center, and nice to see all of you.
And Garrett?
Hi, Garrett Lepisto, Assistant Principal in charge of Facilities, Safety, and Athletics, and look forward to being here with everybody.
And Allison?
I'm Allison Geld. I am the co-PFC president, and happy to be here.
And Kim, I saw you jumped on.
I am. I'm here. I can't see myself, but I am Kim Hamilton. I've been the PFC president with Allison for a year, and I've had 4 children come through, and my last child is coming through Agoura High School. So I'm looking forward to this year.
Great, and we'll do everything we can to hold both Allison and Kim's children at Agoura High School so that they can stay with us. So for tonight, we have several items to kind of go through. Our protocol usually is that we go through the slide and then we monitor the chats. So we have a Q&A chat available in the YouTube that folks are monitoring for us. And then we also have a link to a Google form on our main website where the announcement is for tonight's meeting. We have a Google form. So you're welcome to submit questions to either location. Some of them we may be able to answer for you right away. Others we may have to do a little bit of research, and in our next meeting or through our Sunday announcements, we will address those issues. So we're going to talk about registration, what the instructional programs will look like on campus, distance learning, virtual academy. We'll also give you some counseling updates on students, and we have textbook and materials pickup next week for both our resident school as well as the virtual academy students from Agoura High. And then we'll give you some updates on activities and athletics. So I'm going to jump right in. Again, if you have questions, this presentation is live on our website as well, so you can click that link to submit a question if you have any, and then again, also use the YouTube. We have already met the leadership team, but like in case you want to do a screen capture and carry this around on your phone to look at for inspiration, because I find these folks inspirational. This is our admin team, and please note that our administrators are assigned to certain sections of the alphabet. So if your child's last name begins with, they all begin with a letter, but you can see which administrator is assigned to your child in terms of the alphabet. And then also we supervise specific academic departments. So as issues come up, or if you have questions about curriculum, instruction, anything related to particular departments, that information is also listed on That's great. And then our fabulous PFC co-presidents, Allison and Kim. And I have to do a shout out to not only Allison and Kim, but our entire PFC board. They were just incredibly supportive and continue to be incredibly supportive as we are moving into distance learning and trying to support our students as best we can. And through their efforts, we get tons of parent volunteers in community events, and our senior celebrations last year were successful because of their efforts and the efforts of PFC. So a big shout out to PFC. Ladies, do you have anything that you'd like to talk about? A quick hi, a quick join us.
Look for, please, if you haven't already, for any of the youths that come to have participation, and we will try. We're not quite sure how our meetings are going to look. Typically it's been, we do once a month, just kind of getting updates and so forth, but we'll try not to, send out too many emails, because the district really is the one giving us, as well as Agoura, all the most pertinent information on a timely manner. And we'll all get through this, and we're all in it together, and it's a team in every way. Thank you for being a part.
And if you haven't, if you don't know about the Sunday e-blast, the PFC puts out an e-blast every week, and it is chock full of information. And so it's definitely worth opening up and taking a look at on a regular basis, because there's links to all kinds of stuff that's not only going on at our school, but also at the district level and then within the community. So check out the Sunday e-blast. It's good stuff. So we're going to start out by talking about registration. I think we have sent you all a bunch of emails about registration. So Mr. Bruno is just going to kind of walk through some quick reminders on that. Go ahead and take over.
All right, awesome. Well, good evening, everybody. So registration's coming up. It's a modified registration from what we're used to at Agoura. All the components are mainly online. So if you were to visit the parent.lvusd.org website, that's the Aries profile. In the Aries profile, you're going to complete the online registration process, which is the student information section. Under that student information section, you're going to see a section that says Agoura High School documents, and then print and sign. Make sure you review all those linked documents that's in under the parent Aries profile or portfolio process. If you have not seen the documents, or if you already completed the registration, you have to go back into there. Just click under student information. You can follow the clicking pieces and see the documents again if you still need to print out the senior contract or parking permit or any of the other things we offer there. But yeah, please be sure to review all those documents. And then with you during your scheduled textbook materials pickup time, you're going to bring a printout or a screenshot of the online Aries registration receipt. That's basically the student information piece. So when you complete the student information section of the Aries registration, you're going to get an email. If you didn't get an email, just log back into Aries and make sure you capture that screenshot showing us you've completed it. If you've purchased one of our 138 parking spots we have available on campus, bring the parking permit permission slip with you to your textbook registration. That's only open to juniors and seniors. And we have to have that permission slip in order to issue you a parking permit once we're back on campus. And then seniors, of course, bring your activities, participation, graduation contract. If you have any questions, email me at cbruno@lvusd.org, and I'll be happy to answer questions as quick as I can. I think there's another slide, Steph.
Nope.
Okay.
So before we jump ahead, can we just take a quick look at the Q&As to see if we have any questions about registration that we can answer before we move on? At the end of the presentation, we'll also answer questions, but we'll stop. We'll pause after each section to see if there's any questions for us.
Great. I did want to just kind of remind families that this is for Virtual Academy and students who are going to choose to attend it in person once we're doing classes on campus. So this is for every student that's attending Agoura, whether it's Virtual Academy or in person. If you have any questions, email me, please.
All right. Any questions, or are we good to move on to the next one? All right. So a little bit about the instructional programs now and what's available for students for next year. So primarily we're talking about right now the on-campus program. So those families that have signed up for the on-campus program, as you all know, we are going to begin in a distance learning format to start the year. So when it's safe to return to school, we will shift to an on-campus model that has a morning group and an afternoon group. So essentially we're going to split our student population in half. And half of the students will attend in the morning, half of the students will attend in the afternoon. And it's 2 periods each day. The time that they are at school, obviously they're working directly with their teachers, and then they will be given assignments, which is not unusual, right? They get their homework to take home, and the idea is that they would do that for the off time. In other words, like if they're in the morning session, they would go home and work on school in the afternoon. And if they're in the afternoon session, they could be working on their schoolwork in the morning. We're not micromanaging the off time, but that's our suggestion to help keep students in a routine. In the distance learning format, we've spent a lot of time listening to feedback, honestly, about how the spring went and trying to address concerns. And so one of the big concerns was like the consistency of face-to-face contact, or what we call synchronous contact with the teacher. So in the distance learning format, there will be face-to-face time with teachers during every class period, every time that class meets. And the students are also required to attend class with cameras on. We had a lot of students who maybe would just log in and then they flip their cameras off. And so for us, it's an accountability that works in both directions. We want our teachers to be present for our students. We want our students to be present for our teachers. And attendance will be taken. And attendance will be taken in that physical synchronous meeting time spot. So we do expect students to be in class during class time to get credit for being present. In the on-campus format, hang on. In the on-campus format, we will be dividing students into AM or PM sessions. We have not yet done that. We have toyed with ideas of splitting the alphabet. We're working to coordinate with middle schools and our sister high school at Calabasas to make sure that we're creating a system for AM and PM that honors families and keeps families to the greatest degree possible on the same schedule. So we're in the process of coordinating that. What we do know is that we have to split our student body in half. And so we'll probably use a very predictable system to do it, whether it's alphabetical, whether we mix certain letters together, we'll figure that part out. And then there will be some, and that's a very small in making adjustments to AM and PM to accommodate student needs. But at the same time, we still have to make sure that we can honor social distancing and that we can keep to the greatest degree possible the number of students on our campus to a minimum so that we can ensure social distancing and the safety of our kids. So the cohorts will be determined. We have a little time to figure it out because we are starting in a distance learning model. So again, we'll work with our colleagues, we'll get feedback from families to try to figure out the most efficient way to do that. And then we will let folks know. So in terms of being on campus, and I talked about, safety obviously is the first priority in bringing all of our students back on campus. And so the safety protocols that we're putting in place are first and foremost to reduce the number of students on campus every day. And while all of our students will come to campus, we will have only half of our student population on campus at a time with a 90-minute break in between. As students come onto campus, they will be health screened. We will do temperature screenings of students, and then all faculty and staff are required to do anytime, even now when we're walking onto our campuses, we do a check-in protocol that's a health screening. So every day we will follow that protocol. We will use any and all PPE that is based on CDC and health guidelines. The district continues to work with various public agencies to determine what is and what will be necessary in order for us to safely return. And obviously all of those things will be when we are ready to come back face to face. In the classrooms, there's a social distancing. There will be a social distancing requirement. So that is why we have to have fewer students on campus at a time, because we want to allow for social distancing within the classroom between the seating. We also have a cleaning protocol set up. That 90-minute block between the morning and the afternoon session is so that the classrooms can be disinfected and cleaned. And the other safety piece that's been put in place is replacing our current heating and air conditioning filters with ones that are more efficient and recommended. So when we, and I know that this slide may be a little bit more difficult to read, but when we come into a distance learning virtual academy, this is kind of what a day in the life could look like, right? So in the distance learning, at when school opens, we're looking at kind of the face-to-face live instruction that students would get would be about 180 minutes a day, which is 3 hours of direct instruction a day, with about 150 minutes of independent or group work that students would do essentially offline. And then if you look down to that sample schedule, and none of this is etched in stone, but these are guidelines that we're all moving forward with. So I don't want you to think like, oh, it's going to be, you know, the first 30 minutes is this, the next 10 minutes is this, the next 10 minutes is that. Teachers are using these recommendations to develop what their classroom routines and procedures will be like. The big eye on the prize here is the 180 minutes of direct instruction. And between the 3 classes, you can look for about 3 hours of instruction a day. That is face-to-face with the teachers. And you can see like how we're intending to lay it out. It wouldn't necessarily look like, and we hope it doesn't look like a straight lecture, kind of like what I'm doing right now, because 3 hours of that every day could be a little bit tedious. But we're looking at, you know, breaking it up into smaller group discussions, or students taking a break to work on something and then circling back with the teacher, much like it would run in a regular classroom. But I think that the big takeaway is that there will be a lot more direct interaction between the teacher and the students. And the virtual academy, I'm going to start with our fabulous coordinator. I know that she's watching in the distance, Ashley Winter, program coordinator for the virtual academy. And she is going to be your kind of one-stop shop for questions and information about the virtual academy. They have a town hall following this one. And you'll get a lot of really good information about the virtual academy if that is the option that you've chosen. I think the big difference, the most significant difference between our on-campus program, even though we're starting in distance learning, we're starting with the expectation that we'll return to campus at some point. And the virtual academy is designed to be 100% distance learning the entire school year. So there is no return to campus plan for virtual academy students, and they're making those choices, honestly, like for health reasons, for they may be immune compromised. I mean, there are really, really good reasons why some of our students and families are opting for the virtual academy. And so the other piece there is that the virtual academy is, I want to say it's a separate program. For all of the students and the families that have chosen the virtual academy, they will have dedicated faculty and a dedicated master schedule on their own. And it's not necessarily, and probably by design, not the Agoura High School teachers. Some of our teachers will be transferred and will be working out of the virtual academy, but essentially the schedules are different. So we have our on-campus schedule with our teachers, and the virtual academy has its schedule and its teachers. And again, if you're in the virtual academy, I hope that you will attend the town hall meeting that's coming up, and you'll get a lot more information. But if you have questions, you can contact Ms. Winter about that. So a few notes about that, because we're getting a lot of questions and emails and inquiries. So families were asked to choose the virtual academy or the on-campus program. And the deadline for that, I believe, was the 24th of July. And since we've gotten those numbers, we have literally transferred teachers and created a master schedule for the virtual academy. And we've also made the adjustments to our master schedule and staffing at Agoura High. So to make changes at this point, we're saying there are no changes. If you chose virtual academy, you're in the virtual academy. If you chose the on-campus program, you're in the on-campus program. And then the natural places that students could move out of that program is at the semester break. It's just really difficult at this point. We've actually transferred teachers to accommodate the people who have requested virtual academy. And again, made pretty significant adjustments. So we can't have a lot of movement of students at this point, or we won't be able to offer the programs that we've committed to offering. If you have questions about the on-campus program or the virtual academy, we put some contacts there. Mary Hazlett, our assistant principal of curriculum instruction, is our on-campus contact if you have questions about the program. And then again, Ashley Winter is your contact for the virtual academy. So that said, virtual academy students are still chargers. You belong to us, we belong to you. And so our virtual academy students are still receiving messages from us, and they are still able to participate in athletics and activities and student clubs if their schedules allow it. And you have access to our College and Career Center and to our counselors. So it's really important to kind of know that we are still, Agoura High School is still your home. Your instructional program is going to be provided through the virtual academy. So before we go into the next section, I'm guessing that we might have gotten some questions jumping up. So do we have questions that I can answer for anybody? Or someone else could
Steph,
jump?
we did have one question about teacher safety. Since it's going to be the same teacher in the AM and the PM, what measures are we taking to keep teachers safe?
So yes, a teacher is assigned, let's say they have a 5-period schedule, and during the face-to-face time, they'll teach half of their students, like for example, one day periods 1 and 2 in the morning, and then the same periods 1 and 2 in the afternoon. The teachers will be provided with PPE, again, all of which is currently being recommended and evaluated based on our public health and CDC guidelines. We've installed, we have separated desks. We've rearranged the furniture in classrooms to allow for social distancing for students. The teachers are provided with a plexiglass barrier for their desk surface. And they have the option to wear masks. They have the option to wear whatever PPE in addition to what's provided. They need to be comfortable. And teachers at this point, it's hard to know what the recommendation will be when we actually get back face to face, but the teachers expected and protected by maintaining a 6-foot distance at a minimum for social distancing during instruction.
Okay, another one for you, Steph. We have a question about 0 period. How's that going to be handled? And as it relates to IB as well.
Yeah, so that's a great question. 0 period is a little bit tough in this shift in this schedule, and we're actually going into counseling. So I'm going to hold that question because we can talk about it with counseling. And is there any other question about the
rest of this? No, I think you're probably going to address sports later on as well. So I think you're good. All
right, I'm jumping right into counseling, and I'll talk about 0 period before Ms. Hazlett jumps in and talks about the rest of the good stuff that we had. Oh, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but that's our awesome team. So 0 period is a bit problematic in terms of when we come back face to face. So the decision was made that 0 periods would be completely virtual. So that 0 period, even if we come back to a face to face, when we come back into an on-campus model, 0 period would still remain as a distance learning course. For that reason, we have really looked at our 0 period classes and tried to, as we've reworked the master schedule, to move as many classes as we can, those high impact classes, math and graduation requirements. And, we have some pretty intense classes that were scheduled in zero period, and we have shifted them into the regular schedule because we feel like for those classes that are much more high intensity, we want to make sure that they have that daily and regular contact teachers. So we have made some adjustments to zero period. I think the only zero period class that's still remaining in our schedule as of today, and Ms. Hazlett can speak to that, is an IB class because it doesn't fit anywhere else. But other zero period classes have been collapsed into part of the regular schedule. So Ms. Hazlett, would you like to introduce your team virtually and take us through the next few slides?
I would love to. Thank you, Dr. McClay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and welcome freshman families and students to Agoura High School. Yes, I'm Ms. Hazlett, and this is my stunning team. We have had some, as we always do in the summer, some staffing changes. And so Ms. Gagliardi, who has been a counselor of ours for years, is now at Lindero Middle School supporting the middle schoolers. And so we reshuffle. And so your student, if you're returning, may have a new counselor because we break the teams up based on your student's last name. So let me introduce them. If your last name starts between the letters A through FAV, you're going to have Dr. Linda Orden as your counselor. Last names FAW through KRE, you'll have Ms. Craven. Last names KRI through RAN, you'll have Mr. Lipka. Last names RE through Z, you'll have Mrs. Laddie. And everybody will have, you all have access to everybody, but that's your primary person. And everyone will have access to Mrs. Hyder and Mrs. Murjafarli. These are our college and career advisors. And Ms. Murjafarli also supports our dual enrollment ECA program. So that's our team of counselors. In terms of schedules, I know that's what you really want to hear about. So in terms of schedules, the fall schedules will be available prior to their scheduled textbook distribution time through your Aries account. You can access your Aries account through your computer. You can access your Aries account through your phone. As many of you know, same as last year. Students will receive an email to their LVUSD student email addresses announcing that the schedules are now available to view. I will let you know, I'm going to be sending out this email that it's now time for you to look at your schedules. You'll be prompted. In that email, I will also include a link to a Google form if there's a problem in your schedule. And by a problem, I mean you're missing a crucial class for graduation, like you're missing a math class or you have 2 Spanish classes. We are going to be focusing, I want you to know, I want you to understand that we're focusing on the need to make sure all of the students have all the classes they need, not necessarily which period they prefer, which teacher. We can never promise a teacher favorite, but so we will look at all of the course change requests and address them all. And again, just know our primary focus is to make sure everybody starts the year off with the classes they need in order to graduate and fulfill their plans. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, thank you very much.
So first day, once you get that schedule and you know who your teachers are, we want to make sure that you are checking your email after 4 o'clock the day before school starts. And you should be, and that's Tuesday, and you should be getting an email from every teacher that welcomes you and contains the information for their Google Classroom or whatever information you need to be prepared to attend classes on the first day. And then you'll have to register for if it's Google Classrooms or if there are other things that your teachers are asking you to do, you'll get that information after 4 o'clock on Tuesday before school starts. And just make sure you read through that information and share it with your parents as well, because they can help keep you on track. Random announcement, but we wanted to put it in our counseling session section right now. Typically, we've done the PSAT. We've offered the PSAT for our students, our 10th graders, for free, and then our 11th graders could participate as well. Given all of the COVID restrictions and social distancing, it is not remotely feasible for us to do that kind of a large scale test administration. So our college and career advisors will be helping you out with that and discussing alternatives with you. And then we've also provided a link to the College Board website, because I think they're still trying to figure out how they're going to administer these assessments. Last spring, they kind of put things on hold, and some of their assessments, like the AP exams, were administered remotely and online. So I think that they're still in that process of sorting out what their systems are going to be. And so please just know, if you were planning on taking the PSAT with us, because we've always done it, we are not going to be doing it this year. But our college and career advisors are amazing, and they will support you in exploring alternatives. So that was our counseling update. Do we have questions in our chat about counseling that we can answer? It was a lot of information. So just by way of letting you kind of see what we've already talked about, those were some of the things that we've talked about in terms of scheduling. We did talk about zero period as well. Course change requests and pre-first day of school. I'm pausing because you have to pause a long time when people are typing questions. So did we get anything? All right, I will head to the next one. Student activities, Mr. Bruno, take it away.
Awesome. All right. So even in a virtual learning environment, we're going to still keep your students engaged with virtual activities and hopefully in-person activities at some point coming up. But I wanted to highlight a few things you'll see on this slide here. One is our ASB web store. So in the registration information we sent out on Sunday and a couple of weeks ago, we mentioned items on the web store, and those include spirit packages, parking, senior activities, and spirit wear. Now, these things are all for sale on the actual web store. So spirit packs include t-shirts and just different ways to help engage your students. Even while remotely, they can wear those spirit gear. They could use those on Zoom. So it really shows some of the connectedness of our campus. Parking. Parking is very limited this year. Last year, we have sold parking spaces or more passes than we have spaces. This year, we only have 138 parking spaces for seniors and juniors. So we're only selling 138 parking passes this year. So make sure you go to the web store. It's available there. If you click on a registration, you'll see the parking pass available there for you. But remember to also bring that parking permission slip with you to your textbook distribution day coming up. And we'll talk about that in just a few moments. Senior activities. So there's also, last year, in general, we planned senior activities. Those include a brunch, picnic, a senior theme park trip. Those items are still available to purchase on the web store. If for some reason we're not able to have those, which we hope to have those events, we do issue refunds. And those will take approximately a month to receive after the event's canceled, just so you're aware of that. ASB membership, something that's really important to our students. Now, normally this is an $80 membership. This year it's $50 because we're aware that we are most likely not going to have as many activities as we have. But apart from the activities, what the ASB membership does, it supports all of our athletics, all of our visual and performing arts, our activities. But the money that we raise from ASB membership goes directly back to students. The students control the funds and they decide kind of really what happens with it. But we did a really great job this past year honoring our seniors. We put on a lot of events for them, but some of that money came from student funds, and that was from the ASB membership. So we would really like to ensure that our students are still well funded. And so if you're inclined, I really encourage you to please purchase an ASB membership for every single student on campus. That will benefit your student in some way. I've had a number of emails asking about freshmen and engaging freshmen. What are we going to do for them? The funds that we raise from the ASB membership do support freshmen as well. So I really hope that you take a moment to go on our web store and purchase that membership. But Once we do return to campus, it does offer free entrance to sporting events, discounts on student activities when those are available and allowable by our health laws.
So I just wanted to piggyback on the parking. We have a reduced number of spaces available because every space is a reserved space. So those 138 parking spots are actually going to be numbered. And so when a student buys a parking pass, they're actually buying their very own space. And this decision was made in response to some of the concerns that students and parents have raised in the past that, it's hard to find parking and people are in there, without passes. And so this us control that. And it also guarantees that if you've purchased your parking spot, it's going to be available to you. So that's why there was a reduction. The reduction is kind of a quote. It's the same number of spaces, but we're not doing overflow. We're just selling the exact number of spaces that we have, and then every space is guaranteed and reserved. Any questions about student activities or ASB before we move to the next section? Anything coming up in the chats or in submitted questions? All right, we'll go athletics. Mr. Lepisto.
All right, thank you very much, and welcome back to our returning athletes and parents, and welcome to our incoming freshmen, parents, and athletes, and new students. Some important updates regarding athletics. The CIF announced on July 20th that they were going to be pushing back the sport seasons and also condensing 3 seasons of sport into 2 seasons. And as you see on the slide, our fall sports, you see what is represented there: cross country, football, volleyball, and water polo. They'll begin competition in December and January, and their season will last until March. And then you see our second season of sport, our spring sports, and the sports represented there. As you see, we will have a busy spring. The CIF, of course, had to push back athletics so we can do so safely. And I think something to keep in mind for all of us as we return to school and we return to athletics, we have to be flexible. So this is the CIF updated sports calendar, and we'll have this on our website as well. Our coach contact information, you can visit our athletics site at agouraathletics.org. And if you want to get in touch with a coach, you have any questions about a specific sport, please reach out to that coach. We will still offer athletic PE periods, also known as sports PE, where students can receive PE credit for athletic participation. Our hub for athletics is at agouraathletics.org, so please visit that site, and I'm sure you could find answers to any questions you may have. We will still have the need to be cleared for athletics, so that means an athletic physical will still be required once we return to sports and once we return to workouts. And also you'll need to register through our registration link, which can also be found at agouraathletics.org, and click on the athletic clearance tab. We have a partnership with Exer and Exer Urgent Care. There's a location in Calabasas and also Westlake, and we'll be sending out that information. If you do need to complete a sports physical, you'll be able to make an appointment there, and we'll send that information out by the end of the week. One important thing to note, the California Department of Public Health rolled out new guidelines regarding youth sports and high school sports yesterday. And the LA County Office of Public Health, they rolled out their information today. So our district office and our school sites are aware of this information. We have received some questions about when we can return. We'll work with our district office to make sure that we can return safely, keeping our athletes and also our coaches safe as we return. And when we have that information in terms of a specific date, we'll send it out to our coaches, our student athletes, and our parents as well. A lot of information.
Yeah, and I think, Mr. Lepisto, you hit a key point, and I think it's just important for us to remind ourselves that although we are geographically the closer to Ventura County, we are part of LA County when it comes to public health and the agencies that we work with around public health. So sometimes you'll see that something is different in Conejo or than it is with us. And so that's also part of what our challenge is as being at the edge of the bubble of LA County. We do follow LA County public health guidelines. And so that makes it a little bit confusing, you know, when literally our neighbor less than, 6 miles away is, is doing something really different than us. So thank you for that. Any questions about athletics?
I did see one about tryouts. Did you cover that or did I miss that?
I did not cover that. We're working with our coaches, still determining our return date to physical workouts. There is potential that we could hold online workouts. We prefer a live tryout scenario where the coaches can physically see our athletes. So we continue to work through that. As soon as we have more information, we'll share out with our parents and students.
And the other question is, in the meantime, will those students be scheduled for just a generic PE class?
Traditionally, we're going to schedule the athletes who may request a certain sport in their schedule. We'll schedule them into that sport-specific class. Is how we've traditionally scheduled.
So expanding on that a little bit, we do know information is changing. And so we will have more concrete information about the sports PE program in the next week or so. Just know that all of our students who need a PE class are going to get a PE class. So the answer is yes. The 9th and 10th graders who are coming in who need PE are going to be scheduled for it. When we have clear guidelines for what the sports PE schedule will look like, we'll make sure that we share that. And then all of our athletes, 9 through 12, would be part of that program. So the answer is yes, everybody's going to get the PE they need. We're sorting out what that looks like based on this fall and spring schedule right now. So we'll have details, but it would still show on your child's schedule. If they're a tennis player, it's going to show sports PE for tennis. Any other questions about athletics? All right. Textbook materials, pickup, and photo ID. So next week, to accommodate all of our awesome students and the start of our school year, they need to have some books, and some of them need to pick up tech. We're doing photo IDs, and Mr. Bruno is going to walk us through that part right now.
Right, awesome. So just a reminder, this textbook material and photo ID time is going to be scheduled for all virtual academy students as well as in-person students. So every student who's participating or attending Agoura in any fashion, whether it's virtual academy or on campus, should attend this textbook distribution and photo ID day. On Sunday or last week, we emailed a schedule out based on Alpha, which we'll go over in just a second. But this coming Monday, August 10th, seniors are going to attend this day, depending on the alphabet. It ranges from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesdays will be juniors, Wednesdays will be sophomores, and Thursdays will be freshmen. We're gonna have 2 stations, basically 3 stations. So when you arrive on during your scheduled time, please park in the student parking lot. We're asking that a student only bring 1 parent with them if they choose to bring a parent. You don't necessarily have to bring a parent with you, but if you bring a parent, if you need to bring a parent, just bring 1, please. We're asking that all other family members stay home. This is to help us to ensure proper physical distancing, and we want as few people on campus as we possibly can. But park in the student parking lot, please, and then you're going to walk up to the half circle, which is by the administration building in the front of the school. There are going to be 4 tables there, and we're going to you just pick a table, and we're just going to scatter you throughout so we can create physical distancing space. You're going to check in. So this is where you're going to show your printout or a screenshot of your Aries check-in. We're going to give that to the person that's checking under the table, and then we're going to tell you where to attend. There's 2 stations. One is a textbook pickup, and that's going to be in front of the library, and that you'll also receive tech if you don't have any. And then second station will be a photo ID, and that's going to be in 2 separate places, but we'll direct you to that location when you arrive. Our safety protocols are going to be really small groups. So we're approximately going to have 40 students coming every half hour, but everything's going to be spaced out and you will not be in large group settings. Masks will be mandatory, so please bring a mask and you must wear that mask any place on campus while you're here. We're going to definitely enforce physical distancing. So if you see a friend, if we have students watching, please do not go give your friends hugs, say hello to them. We're going to maintain that physical distancing. And again, please limit to 1 student to parent ratio, please. Here's a schedule. So we'll send this out again on Friday with some more detailed information about where you're going to report. But the schedule is broken down as that, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's very important that you attend your specific time, please. We need to make sure that we're creating as much physical distancing as possible. And these alphas do split our attendance time pretty evenly. So please attend during your time. That's going to be very important for us. So again, it's going to be for on-campus and virtual academy students. Please, again, adhere to your time and date, very important. And we need to keep everyone safe. And it's going to be very important. We're working really hard to do so. And it's going to be a great event as long as you're following your time and date. So thank you very much. Oh, another slide. Photo note. So these pictures are going to be used for IDs and yearbooks. So it's going to be really important not to bring props, animals, masks, wigs, etc. in your picture. So we need to be able to identify you easily from your photo. And this is going to be very important when we actually attend in-person instruction again. You're going to be asked to wear your ID outward, probably via a lanyard. And this is going to help us identify all of our students. So this is a very important safety piece. So that's why we're needing to take these photos during this time. We need all students to have an ID when they come onto campus, whether it's for an activity or any class or any kind of event. So it's important that you do have those photos taken. But it will be used in your yearbook photo too. Seniors, you've been receiving communication from Cornerstone Photography to schedule your senior portrait. If you have not received that email, please give Cornerstone a contact or a call and they'll schedule your appointment for you. The seniors, when you take your photo on Monday, you will be taking that photo for your ID only. Does anyone have any questions about textbook distribution or ID cards?
Curtis, I did have one question come in. Folks are asking if we can't make our allotted time slot, what can we do? Who should we contact?
So give me an email, so cbruno@lvusd.org, and I'll try to work with you on seeing what we can do.
So again, I want to jump in and just reinforce the importance. I know it may seem like picture taken is not a necessary thing, but when we return to campus, our students will need to wear masks. And masks will be part of our culture. So it becomes just really, really important from a safety perspective that from the second that we're allowing students to come on campus, that we're able to really differentiate our students from folks who are not supposed to be on campus. So please, I just wanted to explain why we would make pictures. It isn't really about the yearbook, but it's about the yearbook, right? We want everybody's picture in the yearbook. It is really a huge safety protocol for us to make sure that the ID photos are available when we return from day one. So thank you for your understanding with that.
Hey, Steph,
Yeah.
or Dr. McClay, I need to add one thing. Students also and parents, when you receive the email with your schedule from Ms. Hazlett, please bring a copy of that schedule with you. If you can print that out, great. That'd be 100% the best method. Bring that schedule with you. If not, please bring a electronic copy of that schedule. We'll need that schedule when we're accessing your textbooks for the school year. And that was it.
Any questions about the textbook? So just to be clear, it's textbooks and it's tech. So if you are an incoming freshman and you don't have your technology, your laptop, you'll be picking that up as well. If you have a laptop that's not working, so, you know, our returning students, if you have a laptop that's not working and you need to swap it out, bring it with you, please, so that we can exchange it and make sure that you have working tech for the first day of school. Our calendar. So just a few calendar things. Obviously, we've said it a couple of times. First day of school is August 19th. And while we wish that we were meeting with you guys face to face on that day, we are excited to get to see our students again and welcoming our incoming freshmen to Charger Nation. We're excited about that. And our seniors, class of 2021, we're excited for them as well. So not that sophomores and juniors, we love you too. But in the beginning right now, first day of your senior year is a big deal. First day of high school is a big deal. So we're looking forward to greeting all of you as you virtually return to campus on the 19th. Mark your calendars, September 10th to school night. It will be a virtual event, we believe, because even if we are back face to face, we won't be able to have that large of a social gathering. So we're going to creatively address back to school nights so that parents have the opportunity to meet teachers. So we will post our distance learning schedule on our website. Every year we post our bell block schedule, that's what we call it. So that's the schedule that we're following. So for those of you who are returning Agoura folks, where we do Mondays 1 to 6 and Tuesday through Friday is an alternating odd and even block schedule. That is the schedule that we'll adhere to during distance learning, and we will update our bell block schedule and have that posted by next week. And then as we get closer to our on-campus schedule, when it's safe to return, we will publish the times for the on-campus schedule as well. So they'll be posted in the same location on our website, but the distance learning schedule will be available beginning next week. And that concludes our prepared portion of the evening, but I know that there are some questions. So we're gonna, I know Mr. Klein, you said that there were some questions about special ed. I will do my best to answer those questions and any other questions that have come through the chat that we might not have addressed. So what are those questions, Mr. Klein?
Hang on a second, I'm looking. Yikes.
And this is also an opportunity as we're kind of answering some questions. If you have questions, go ahead and type them either into the Google form or into the YouTube question and answer area, and we'll try to address them. We'll take
Right, so I'm looking at some of the questions. I'm looking for the SPED questions, but in the meantime, there were some questions about what safety protocols will be in place for the photo section because students will be taking off their masks. Do you have
right? So we have 2 cameras that will be set up in 2 completely different rooms. Both of those rooms have separate entrances and exits. One student will be in the room at a time with the photographer. The photographer will be socially distanced, probably more than 6 feet. And the student will walk in, mask on, get the picture set up. When the picture is ready to be taken, they'll remove the mask, take the picture, put the mask back on, and exit out a different door. So students will not cross each other's paths on the way in or out of the photo rooms. Did I get that right, Mr. Bruno?
Yeah, that's correct. So the doors will remain open as well. So there won't be any closed doors, free flowing, and will not be crossing of any paths.
All right, Ms. McClay, I also see some questions about the music program.
The magical music program. I think I'm going to punt on that one a little bit because I know that there are conversations. What I want to say first and foremost is obviously we are super committed to our music program and all of our performing arts programs. They are outstanding. And it is quite frankly, one of the biggest reasons that a lot of our kids show up to school every day. That's where their passion is. And we want to make sure that we're supporting that. We also recognize that there are performance elements, not just to music, but also to dance and theater that pose particular challenges when we're trying to implement social distancing guidelines. So This week, we've started some really good, serious conversations with our music teachers to talk about how we create spaces on campus where it's safe for music instruction. String instruments are kind of easy. Vocal music poses particular challenges because of the projection, and it's very difficult to control respiratory droplets when people are singing their hearts out. So vocal music is a problem there. And then also wind instruments were a bit of a challenge as well, because obviously the forced air. So we're working with our music teachers to determine the best and safest ways to offer our music instruction programs. So please know that we're working on it. Please know that we absolutely want a solution. Our music teachers in particular, Mr. Bloom and Mr. Hackett, if you know them, you know that that's where their passion is, and they're going to do everything that they can to create and support a program that works for all of our students. So bear with us. I will have more answers about music by next week. As I said, it's something that we're really focusing in on right now as we finalize the master schedule. So give us a few more days on that one to try to work it out. And then also, because we're starting in a distance learning model, we're kind of leaving the schedule the way that it is, because everything is virtual right now. Our biggest challenge is trying to make sure that we build something that allows us, when we return face-to-face, to continue the music instruction the way we want it.
And I did see a few questions about grades as well. If you could talk about that a little bit. Will the grading be the same for the distance learning portion as it is for regular on-campus attendance?
Yes. So we'll continue, like, obviously we had to make some shifts right at the end of last year that caused some concerns about, in particular, around assessments and points that could be earned and grading policies when the syllabus was built for a face-to-face environment. So our teachers are continuing to work on that, and but grading will be more consistent with what the traditional grading has been, I guess, if that makes sense. Like we're starting the year with a plan, and so we will issue letter grades, and I would say that our traditional grade book approach is coming back.
All right, there are a number of other questions in there, but they're one-off, so I think we can save those for follow-ups or personal calls.
Okay, that's perfect. I know that there were some questions about special education, and I think that probably the best thing that we could do to address those questions with fidelity is set up a parent meeting for families whose students receive special education services. So I want to say that we will follow up with our special ed faculty on our campus, but also with district personnel, so that we can do a similar format to this, where we address special education concerns, issues. There's a lot of compliance around how we're providing services, and I know that what I can say is that our special education students will have their IEP, their individualized education plans outline a certain amount of instructional minutes. So it's our commitment to adhere to all of the services that our students are required to have. And we can talk about what that looks like, I think, better in a smaller group. So we will schedule something very soon to special education families so that we can talk about those specific concerns.
Great.
And was that it?
Well, could Jim explain to a few parents where they look in the parent portal just to confirm that their kid is either C for on campus or V for virtual? That I don't know if you can do that easily.
I can't sign in as a parent to show it, but it should appear on the student demographics page. There's a program field that says C for on campus or V for virtual. So you should be able to see it there. If you have questions about that, give us a contact at support@lvusd.org. Just shoot us an email. Once again, that's support@lvusd.org, and we'll give you a hand with that.
So I want to thank all of you for coming in this evening and visiting with us virtually. Sorry for the glitches at the beginning, but we were the first group to try this. So again, thank you to Mr. Klein for setting it up for us. We'll get better as we do it. And I want to thank my team for being here, and Allison and Kim, thank you so much for being here with us. And the question and answer, the questions can still be submitted on the form. We're not going to take that form down. This presentation is also posted to our website. So if you go to tonight's meeting announcement, the presentation was posted ahead of time. And then Mr. Klein, is this recorded as well?
Yes, it is. The very same link that's on the website and that was just emailed out will take you right to the recorded version of it.
Perfect. So thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to seeing you guys on campus next week.